Calaroga Shark Media.
Happy Saturday. I'm Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news. You know what airs on Saturday? Saturday Night Live. It had been on a hot streak. 6.9 million viewers watched John Mulaney host, but last week when Bill Burr bombed, I said that on Threads and people got very upset with me. They're like, he didn't bomb, he just didn't kill. Fine. Anyway, people didn't watch it. Only 4.42 million. That is disappointing coming off the election, isn't it? CharlieXCX doubles up tonight as both a host and musical performance guest. She will perform music when not hosting. John Mulaney auditioned for Saturday Night Live before the 2008-9 season, but didn't make the cast and got hired as a writer. We know this from the GQ profile of John Mulaney I've been talking about and have shared with you in the Facebook group, which is Daily Comedy News Podcast Group. Mulaney spent 4 seasons at SNL. His frequent writing partner, Simon Rich, said, I remember very distinctly thinking, I really hope that I get to write with this person. Part of his genius is his precision and his absolute mastery of language. You never want to paraphrase a Mulaney joke because they're so perfectly constructed and crystalline. If you don't get it word perfect, you're not doing it justice. We're like the post office. You hate us, but you love us. At the end of the day, you go, look, they worked hard and got it done, but you groan at our existence. I found that I'll never need another topic to talk about. It's like our World War II. At any event, any dinner I go to, anywhere in the world, this look comes into their eyes if you're saying, I'm an outlaw. Like, yeah, before this, I was a cowboy. Rich estimates that he and Mulaney wrote 250 sketches, including frequently working on the host monologue on the theory it was one thing that wouldn't be cut. Jenny Slate appeared on Saturday Night Live, not brought back for a second season. Slate said, I think it's so cool that I touched that dream. I'm proud of myself. It's almost magical. In this weird way to think about it, there's a lot of weird rewards that come from situations that we might think are more shadowy. One of the big rewards, a belief in the long game, a belief in many options. It's really important to believe that there's like actually 20 really cool, weird secret doors rather than one big golden ornate legendary door. If I hadn't had that experience at the start of my career, I wouldn't have understood how much is really up to me. Cracked adds, as recently scrapped cast member Chloe Trost pointed out last month, the names on the list of fired SNL cast members is perhaps even more impressive than the list of performers who were permitted to stay. And they write, it's not like anyone would have cast Joe Piscopo in Uncut Gems. I would watch that. And there were no billion-dollar Marvel movies starring Jim Brewer as Iron Man. Pfft, right. Victoria Jackson, remember her? I bumped this story for couple weeks now. Just there's been a lot to talk about, but while we're in SNL mode, she talked about her longtime beef with Alec Baldwin. The attention-getting headline, apparently Alec Baldwin called Victoria Jackson's breasts garbage cans. Jackson was on the Dana Carvey David Spade podcast. Victoria said, we got to talk about Alec Baldwin because he was on Fly on the Wall and he said my breasts look like garbage cans. Spade and Carvey asked her what he meant by that and she said, that's what I want to know. Apparently, Baldwin had said, the only time I ever cracked was when we did SNL. Victoria Jackson's in there, and they have her all dressed, and her boobs are like 2 garbage cans sticking in your face. Spade and Carvey theorized they may have been complimenting her breast size. Jackson disagreed. She also took issue with Dana Carvey telling Alec Baldwin in the episode that Jackson was trying not to fall in love with him. Jackson said, I don't remember it that way. She believes Baldwin took issue with what she wrote about him in her 2012 book, Is My Bow Too Big? An anecdote, in 1990, Alec was sitting next to me on the set and he asked me why my boobs were so big. That's rude and it's caustic and it's inappropriate. I don't know if he was flirting with me or he was being mean. It was kind of a mixture, but I think he heard about the book and ever since, Alec's been mean to me. Jackson thinks Baldwin probably targeted her because our political views are opposite, and I've also said that when he does an impression of Trump, he has hatred inside of him, so he probably read that. Paul Reiser's got a special coming out this week. Is it this week or next week? Because today's Saturday. The 19th. I guess that's this week now? I don't know. It's the weekend, right? Or does the week not start to tomorrow? Who cares, John? Paul Reiser has a special coming out soon. And he told the Irish Times, I started a little ahead of the boom. It was in the late 70s when I was in college. There were already people who were on TV who had big hit TV shows. And a year earlier, they were unknown. Yeah, remember Freddie Prinze? What a shooting star. They came out of those clubs. The people who opened these comedy clubs realized there was an easy way to make money. They just get a brick wall and a microphone and can charge people $20 to watch unknowns. We all flocked to it. I wouldn't have aspired to be a comic if that path hadn't been laid out. He talked about being in Ireland and said we were there in the height of summer. I didn't realize how late it stays light. We'd come home from work at 7 and then would say, let's go to the pub. We'd sit with our Guinness or 2 Guinnesses and chatting with people and petting dogs. We don't have that in New York. It's a bar culture, not pub culture. In Ireland, they're not watching the ball game or CNN. They're talking. He discussed the reboot of Mad About You, where Paul and Jamie were empty nesters. People said, "Why'd you break up?" They were upset. We showed them that they separated for a bit because all marriages have bumps, but they ended up happily forever after. And after a few years, a whole bunch of shows were rebooting. We had that conversation. We thought, what story do they tell? We can't play Newlyweds anymore. That ship has sailed. But we realized if our kid has grown up, then these two idiots are all alone again, just like when the show started. I'm glad we did it. We had a great time. All right, let's take a look at the comedy festivals for today. It's the final day of the Flyover Comedy Festival out St. Louis way. And again, I like their website. Tonight at 8 o'clock, the Sklar Brothers. A smaller show at 8 o'clock, an improv show called Help Me I'm Drowning and Idiot Bitch. I kind of like that title. Oh no, here's one at 10 o'clock called S Show, and I can't tell you what the S stands for, but whatever your guess is, you're right. And switching over to the New York Comedy Festival. Saturday night in the big city. I'm going to have tons of headliners, right? Yeah, I don't know what's going on this year. They don't have the names they've had in the past. I'm scrolling down. I'll read you the bigger names. I'm 9 shows in yet, and haven't seen anybody you've probably heard of. You've heard of Bill Burr, the WTF Tour. That's what you're calling your tour? Are you just like completely unaware that Mark Maron has been calling his thing WTF for 20 years? Bill Burr's the WTF Tour. I'd love to hear Maron's take on that. That's at the Beacon at 7 o'clock. I mean, it's not like Maron owns WTF, but like, come on, man, you're a comedian. You know Mark Maron is WTF. Matt McCusker is at Town Hall at 7 o'clock. Good name here, Time to Kill, a sketch comedy show at 7 o'clock. Rachel Feinstein at the Bell House at 7:30. Allie Colbert, she's on the rise. Check her out at Union Hall, 7:30. Christian Finnegan, remember him? You might remember his face from a Chappelle show, 7:30 at QED. I thought he was going to have a much bigger career than he has had. The Stepfathers, UCB at 10 o'clock. Jason Zinneman had some things to say about that. I'll talk about that in a minute. Don't Tell Comedy at 10 o'clock at location TBD. And that's it. I mean, there are other shows, but those are your big names on a Saturday. Bill Burr on the second Saturday of the festival. This thing has taken a step down. No offense, but I mean, there was a time when there were just huge names playing the festival. Jason Zinneman, friend of the show, and he writes for the New York Times. He recommends the Stepfathers at UCB. He writes, if you're looking for something other than stand-up, the Stepfathers were one of the best improv groups in the city for many years with a Pack Weekly show at UCB. Then the organization shut down. It's returned this year in an attractive new space on East 14th. And this is a good chance to see how the seasoned troupe adjusts to new digs. And that is your comedy news for today. If you would like this program without commercial interruption, there's a link in the show notes that'll tell you how it works. But if you're on Apple Podcasts, there's a banner. And the banner says, I don't know, what does it say? Why don't I just tell you? Let me open it up. You think I'd know. It's not like I host this podcast. Okay, the banner says, uninterrupted listening, $4.99/month or $49.99 a year after trial. Try free. So you click on it. And then as you try it free on Apple Podcasts for 30 days, you'll get this program without commercial interruption, which many of you are probably going, thank God. I know. That's why we have an option. And I'm real about this. This is how I make a living. So ads or $5. But you could try it out for free. I've noticed a real uptick in the people doing the free trial. That's good. If you get to 30 days and you're like, I'm not giving you $5. I'm going back to sitting through the commercials. That's fine, too. I get it. Anyway, if you're on Apple Podcasts, click that banner. Try it out for free for 30 days. If you're not on an Apple phone or you like using Spotify, one of those other apps, I do have a solution for you. But we don't have a 30-day free trial there for reasons that I kind of understand. But it's too complicated to explain. So you can click the link in the show notes. Meet you back here tomorrow